Hello everyone, welcome to Albuquerque, the start of a brand new Pro Tour season. Rich Hagan and Maria Bartoldi, your hosts here, ready to get it on with 4 Pro Tours coming your way in this season. Maria, what are you looking forward to here at Pro Tour Ixalan?
Well, we've seen the deck Teamer be so dominant in the field recently, and I want to see if another deck can kind of dethrone Teamer from the World Championship.
Right, now Teamer didn't just win the World Championship, it was a dominant player who won that event, William Jensen.
Yeah, William Huey Jensen, just an all-star, amazing player. Of course, he was our world champion, went 6-0 in draft. His mom and dad were there in his hometown. His teammates said he was the most prepared for any tournament they've ever seen any player, and I want to see if he can run it back here this weekend.
Right, so he was the winner, but of course you've got to have someone else in the final, and these next two guys know a lot about finishing second. Javier Dominguez was your 2017 second place finisher at the World Championship, which was a phenomenal result for him. And Marcio Carvalho, the 2015 edition runner-up, also second place in Player of the Year. I wonder if either of those can take the next step to the winner's circle here in the 2017-18 season.
So the thing I love most about Pro Tours, it's no great secret, is draft, and our very own Riley and Marshall are ready to talk about it.
Thanks very much, Maria. Riley Knight here with this tall glass of water. It is Marshall Sutcliffe, of course. And Marshall, you're no stranger to Limited. You're no stranger to draft, of course. And you'll be keeping a close eye on the pros throughout the Limited portion of this Pro Tour. Now, this is a format we have seen a lot of. Ixalan Limited has been around for a while. We've seen multiple Premier-level events where this has been played in both sealed and draft. But this time, this Pro Tour, it's a little bit different, Marshall.
Yeah, it is. So the players are coming in with a much different viewpoint than they normally would. Normally, they're trying to just get the building blocks of the format put into place so that they have a basic understanding of how to draft and also, just as importantly, how not to draft. But here, it's not the case. They will have had a very solid understanding of the basic parts of this. So now, it's kind of interesting, they get to go deep. They're going to have a much deeper look at the little places that you can find edges rather than scrambling just to understand which colors are good or not.
Well, what does that look like? I mean, you know, we've seen hundreds of drafts, thousands of hours that these players have put into this format. We have a pretty good understanding of the archetypes. Obviously, tribal synergies at an all-time high here in Ixalan. But
sure,
you know, if we're talking about next level drafting, next level limited play, does that change the way that they approach these archetypes or the game in general?
So the way that it generally tends to work is they're going to look for value in spots where they may not have been able to look if they had a shorter time frame. For example, maybe you build around uncommons or rares, cards that have a high upside potential, but that you don't really get to fully flesh out in the normally shorter window, means that now they do. And they know that even though it only happens 1 in 20 drafts, if they open up this one card or if this one archetype is open, whether it's worth going for or whether it's better just to let it sit on the side. And this is just some of the ways that they're going to try to get that smaller edges, as we call them in the game.
Yeah, those small edges are going to be really crucial because, again, there's no excuse for unpreparedness at Pro Tour Ixalan. People here will have done their homework, Marshall. Yeah. So we're really going to see the best of the best this weekend. I'm looking forward to draft right now, though. It's back to the desk.
Thanks, Riley and Marshall. Well, somebody who will be competing at this Pro Tour, we've seen him at a bunch of Pro Tours recently, but not in the way that we'll see him this weekend.
Right, Luis Scott Vargas. Let's talk about 2016. 4th at Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. 7th at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. 3rd at Oath of the Gatewatch in 2016. 2017 so far, nothing. And the thing is, Luis has been with us at the desk, in the commentary box, bringing all his expertise. And maybe if he isn't getting as far as the final, we'll see him again in that role on Sunday. But he is, of course, the captain of Team Channel Fireball, and we hope that they look like one of the great powerhouse teams for sure. But Maria, you've been sort of digging deep into the numbers, and boy, did you find someone really unexpected to talk about.
Yeah, Yuki Matsumoto from Japan on Team Final Last Samurai. He's 26 years old, a silver pro, has played 7 Pro Tours, 24 GPs. Get this, Rich, a 76 win percentage rate in booster draft. That number is insane.
Okay, yeah, put that in kind of a human context, because obviously 76, that's a high number, but you know, where are the rest of the Pro Tour in that?
So the best players are hovering somewhere around 71% and are usually a little bit lower than that. So 76% is really phenomenal, and I want to see where he takes it this weekend.
Yeah, I guess from 7 PTs, the trick is, can he deliver on the constructed front to then take that next step in his career? He has 2 Grand Prix championships already, but both of those were limited. All right, so on we go. That's the World of Limited. Where next?
All right, Standard is the talk of the town this weekend, and Tim and Simon are going to give us a preview.
Standard format, it's one that we've had around for a little bit longer than perhaps many standard formats that we see at a Pro Tour level. Of course, it debuted at the World Championship where we had 3 really big decks come out and stand out there. Teamer Energy, that was the one that took it down for William Huey Jensen, but also Ramanap Red, the deck that had done so well at the previous Pro Tour, and of course a new blue-black control deck that was able to utilize some of the power of Ixalan in interesting ways. Now, those were the big 3 decks coming out of the World Championship. Since then, we've had about a month, we had a couple of other big tournaments. How much has changed, Simon?
Yeah, there are still the 3 decks there, and they are the big 3. But we have, for every archetype, we have alternatives that players are looking to choose from. And in the aggro department, you can play Mardu vehicles, you can play almost mono-black aggro splashing for Hazoret. And when you're talking to players here, they are really unsure. Should I play Teamer because it's the best deck? Should I try to beat Teamer? This is kind of the dynamic we're looking at.
Now, it's kind of interesting. It's been a while since we last had a Pro Tour where there was a really clear best deck, something with a target on its head. How does that change the way that teams might handle their preparation for this sort of an event?
The big question when you're coming to this Pro Tour is how big is this share of Teamer decks going to be? Is it 20% or is it up to 40%? That's a huge difference. Are you going to of course, you're going to have sideboard cards against Teamer, but Teamer as a strategy, as an energy deck, there are just not sideboard cards to hate this deck out. So you have to decide, am I playing Teamer or am I beating Teamer, and how?
Yeah, I was speaking to one of the pros that was deep in their preparation. I sort of said, how do you feel about this fairly well-defined metagame? And he just said, have you seen the Magic Online figures right now? There are so many interesting decks in the format. And regardless of whether or not Teamer ends up being the best deck in the field this weekend, I think there's every potential we might see a few surprises here at Pro Tour Ixalan.
That's right, Tim. Pro Tour Ixalan kicks off our 17-18 Pro Tour season. We've got Rivals of Ixalan coming up. We've got Pro Tour Dominaria. We've got Pro Tour 25th anniversary. There's so much to look forward to. But if there's one aspect of Magic play that's really developed a real focus for us over the last 18 months or so, it's been teams.
Yeah, I absolutely love the team series, Rich. I mean, it's in the name, teamwork, right? We get to see these groups of players come together to work to break the format, to be the best that they can be, and it all culminates at the World Championship. It was fantastic watching Musashi and Genesis battle it out on the world's biggest stage.
Yeah, well, to tell us all about the team series, how it all works, here's Brian David Marshall.
Thanks, Rich. You know, if you watched the World Championship just a couple weeks ago, you got to see Team Genesis and Team Musashi playing out in the finals of the first iteration of the team series. This is the second season that we're going to be doing that, and it gets bigger and better. First of all, the first season was kind of a soft launch, so it didn't happen across all the Pro Tours of the season. This time, it's going to take place at all 4 Pro Tours and the World Championship, and $200,000 purse for those top 4 teams at the end of the year. Still the top 2 teams getting to playoff. The way it's going to work as we go through these first 3 Pro Tours of the season is these 6-player teams are going to pitch in their best 5-player results in terms of pro points into the pool, and that's going to determine your team standings. At the 4th Pro Tour of the season, which is Pro Tour 25th anniversary, the top 8 teams are going to field all 6 players from their teams. And that is a team Pro Tour. So they're going to have to field 2 complete 3-person teams out of their 6-person teams for that event. And all of the results, all 6 players' results, will count towards their standings going into the World Championship. Again, top 4 teams will win money. Top 2 teams will compete at the World Championship. And you know what? The top 8 teams after that last event, well, for a lot of teams down towards the bottom of that, that's going to be important because it's also going to qualify them for the first Pro Tour next season. We'll see some of those players here from last season playing today because of that. So that's a quick look at what's going on with the 37 teams here at Pro Tour Ixalan.
37 teams, that's over 200 players, but we're expecting over 400 players to join us just behind us here in the feature match area and around as the 2017-18 season gets underway. Ixalan Draft, Standard, over 400 of the best players in the world battling it out. The 2017-18 season starts now.